The void between stars had never been more terrifying. Admiral Zethkara S6 eyes widened as her flagship's sensors registered the impossible. Where empty space had existed moments before. A fleet of human warships now hung in the darkness like predators made of shadow and starlight. Impossible, she whispered, her voice carrying across the bridge of the Galactic Council's most advanced dreadnought. Run the scans again, her tactical officer, a crystalline being whose body chimed with nervous energy, spoke without looking. Up from his console. Admiral, the readings are consistent. 37 human vessels, ranging from destroyers to something we've never seen before. The largest ship defied classification. It stretched nearly to kilometers in length, its hull seeming to bend light around it. Dark matter conduits pulsed along its surface like veins filled with liquid night. The very fabric of space-time appeared to ripple around it. How did they appear without triggering our detection grid? Zethkara demanded. They didn't jump through hyperspace. The tactical officer replied, his crystalline form flickering with confusion. They didn't use any known FTL method. They simply weren't there, and then they were. On the main view screen, the human fleet hung motionless. No communications. No aggressive posturing. Just 37 ships that shouldn't exist, using technology that violated every known law of physics. Send a message to the Council. Zethkara ordered. Tell them we need answers. And tell them humanity has just changed the rules of the game, as if responding to her words. The human ships began to move, not forward or backward, but in ways that made her mind struggle to process what she was seeing. They folded space around themselves, sliding through dimensions that shouldn't be accessible to any known species. In the depths of space, humanity's dark matter warships had announced their presence to the galaxy. And the galaxy would never be the same. Chapter 1. The Council's Gambit Grand Assembly Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so tense. Representatives from 47 species filled the amphitheater, their various forms creating a tapestry of evolution's infinite creativity. But today, all eyes were focused on the holographic display showing the human fleet. Counselor Vexthara, a being whose gaseous form shifted between purple and gold, spoke first. 3 days ago, humanity revealed technology that should not exist. Dark matter manipulation on this scale was deemed impossible by our greatest scientists. Impossible for us, corrected Counselor Threnody, her insectoid mandibles clicking with agitation. But apparently not for them. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, languages, and communication methods. Some species communicated through color changes, others through electromagnetic pulses. The universal translator struggled to keep up. Order. The voice belonged to Supreme Counselor Shothan, whose ancient form commanded respect from all present. We are here to determine our response to this development. A new hologram materialized in the center of the chamber. It showed a human figure, tall and lean, with graying hair and eyes that seemed to hold the weight of galaxies. The assembled representatives fell silent. I'm Admiral Sarah Chen, speaking for the United Earth Defense Force. The figure said, we know you have questions about our new capabilities. We're prepared to answer them. The hologram flickered, indicating it was a live transmission. The human was speaking to them in real time, from somewhere in the void where her impossible ships waited. Admiral Chen, Supreme Counselor Shothan spoke, his voice carrying the authority of millennia. You have deployed technology that our scientists claim violates fundamental laws of physics. How is this possible? Admiral Chen's expression remained neutral. With respect, Counselor, your scientists were wrong about the fundamental laws. Dark matter isn't just invisible mass. It's a gateway. A gateway to what? Demanded Counselor Vexthara. To understanding that the universe is far stranger than any of us imagine, Chen replied. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because your fleet has been following us for 3 days. And we need to discuss boundaries. The chamber fell silent. Admiral Zethkara, present as the military liaison, stepped forward. Our fleet is conducting standard reconnaissance. Your ships appeared in Council space without authorization. Council space. Chen's eyebrows rose. I wasn't aware the Council had claimed ownership of the void between galaxies. The void between, Counselor Threnody began, then stopped. You're saying your ships aren't in our galaxy? Look at your star charts, Counselor. Really look at them. The holographic display shifted, showing a wide view of local space. The human fleet wasn't positioned near any star system. They were in the empty space between spiral arms in a region that technically belonged to no one. This is a technicality, Shothan said. Your ships could threaten any number of worlds from that position. Could, Chen agreed. But won't. We're not here to threaten anyone. We're here because we discovered something that changes everything. And we thought you should know. What kind of something? Vexthara asked. Chen's expression grew serious. We found out why dark matter exists, and more importantly, we found out what it's hiding. The chamber erupted again, but this time the voices carried an edge of fear. In the chaos, no one noticed the small probe that had been silently recording everything, or the fact that it had just transmitted its data to a location far beyond the galaxy's edge. Something was watching, something that had been waiting for this moment. Chapter 2, The Dark Matter Revelation. Elena Vasquez stood in the observation deck of the human flagship Prometheus *, watching the Council fleet maintain its distant surveillance. The stars looked different here, filtered through the dark matter conduits that powered their impossible ships. Reality itself seemed more fluid, more negotiable. You're having second thoughts, Admiral Chen said, joining her at the viewport. Elena didn't turn around. I'm having all the thoughts. Do you really think this is wise, Sarah? Showing them what we've learned. They need to know. All of them do. Even if it changes everything. Even if some species can't handle the truth. Chen was quiet for a long moment. Look at those ships. Elena, look at how they're positioned. They're not just watching us. They're afraid of us. Elena finally turned to face her old friend. Maybe. They should be. Before Chen could respond, the ship's communication system activated. Admiral, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Council chamber. Put it through. The holographic display materialized, showing the assembled representatives. But their attention wasn't focused on the camera. They were looking at something else. Something that made even the most composed species show signs of distress. Admiral Chen. Supreme Counselor Shothan's voice carried an edge of urgency. We need to speak privately. Now, I'm listening. Not here, not with this many ears. Can you meet with a smaller delegation? Chen exchanged glances with Elena. What's happened? We've detected something. Something that appeared shortly after your fleet did. It's significant. The transmission cut out, leaving Chen and Elena alone with the stars and the weight of unspoken possibilities. Elena. Chen said quietly, bring the quantum resonance chamber online. I think we're going to need to show them the whole truth, Sarah. If we do that, there's no going back. Once they see what's really out there, what dark matter is really hiding, then they'll understand why we developed these ships, and why we might not be the greatest threat they need to worry about. Elena nodded reluctantly and moved to the control console. As she began the activation sequence, the space around them, Prometheus began to shimmer. The dark matter conduits pulsed with increasing intensity. And for a moment, the barriers between dimensions grew thin. In that moment, something vast and ancient stirred in the depths between realities. Something that had been waiting for someone to finally open the door. Chapter 3. The Watcher's revealed meeting took place aboard the neutral research vessel. Harmony a ship jointly operated by the Council's Scientific Division. Only 5 beings were present: Admiral Chen, Dr. Vasquez, Supreme Counselor Shothan, Admiral Zethkar, and Dr. Kethmaran, the Council's leading theoretical physicist. The chamber was small, intimate, and shielded from all external communications. What was about to be discussed would not leave this room. Show us, Shothan said without preamble. Elena activated a portable holographic projector. The display that emerged made the assembled beings step back in shock. It showed the galaxy from an impossible perspective, as if viewed from outside normal space-time. This is what we see when we look through dark matter, Elena explained. Dark matter isn't just invisible mass, it's a medium, a carrier wave for something much larger. The hologram zoomed in, revealing structures that defied comprehension. Vast networks of energy and matter stretched between galaxies, connecting them in ways that conventional physics couldn't explain. These are the Watchers, Chen said quietly. They've been observing our galaxy for millions of years, using dark matter as their eyes and ears. Dr. Kethmarin, whose tentacled form was trembling with excitement and fear, spoke up. This is why dark matter interacts so weakly with normal matter. It's not part of our universe. It's part of theirs, exactly, Elena confirmed, and they've been content to watch until now. What changed? Zethkar asked. We did, Chen replied. When we learned to manipulate dark matter, we started interfering with their observation network. We've been blind to them, but now we can see them, and they can see that we can see them. The hologram shifted, showing the region where the human fleet waited. But now, superimposed over the empty space, were shapes that made the mind struggle to process them, things that existed in too many dimensions at once, with geometries that hurt to look at directly. How many? Shothan asked. We don't know, Chen admitted, but they're mobilizing. Our appearance has triggered something. A response. What kind of response? Zethkar demanded. As if in answer to her question, the ship's emergency alert system activated. The lights dimmed to red, and a voice announced, all stations. We are detecting massive spatial distortions throughout the galaxy. Unknown entities are manifesting in normal space-time. Elena's hands flew over the control console. They're not just manifesting, they're coming through. The barriers between dimensions are breaking down. How long do we have? Shothan asked, based on the rate of dimensional decay. Maybe 6 hours before they fully manifest in our reality. The chamber fell silent. 6 hours to prepare for contact with beings that existed beyond the normal laws of physics. 6 hours to decide the fate of every species in the galaxy. There's something else, Chen said. Something we haven't told you yet. What? They're not the only ones watching. There are others, and they're not all friendly. The hologram changed one final time, showing the true scope of what lay beyond the veil of dark matter. The Watchers were just one faction among many, and some of those others were already moving through the dimensional barriers, following the path that the Watchers had opened. The question now, Elena said, is whether we can work together to survive what's coming. Because like it or not, we're all in this together now. Chapter 4. The convergence of next 6 hours passed in a blur of desperate activity. The human fleet and the Council forces worked together for the first time in galactic history, sharing technology and resources as dimensional barriers continued to weaken throughout the galaxy. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the Prometheus Asterisk, watching as hybrid human council teams worked to install dark matter resonance dampeners on every ship in the combined fleet. The technology was crude, improvised, but it was their only hope of surviving what was coming. Elena, report, she called out. The dimensional barriers are at 12% integrity and falling. Dr. Vasquez replied from her station. But we're not the only ones preparing. I'm detecting massive energy buildups in 17 star systems. The Watchers are establishing anchor points. Anchor points for what? For themselves. They're going to manifest physically in our reality on the main view screen. Space itself began to ripple. The stars seemed to bend and twist as something vast pressed against the fabric of reality from the other side. All ships, this is Admiral Chen. She announced on the fleet-wide channel. Prepare for contact. Remember, we don't know their intentions. Stay alert but don't fire unless fired upon. The first manifestation occurred near the edge of the system. Space simply opened. There was no other way to describe it. A sphere of nothingness appeared, growing larger until it was the size of a small moon. Then something emerged from it. The being that came through defied description. It was tall, impossibly tall, with limbs that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Its form shifted constantly, as if it couldn't quite decide which reality it wanted to exist in. This is the Watcher designation Prime. A voice spoke directly into their minds, bypassing all communication equipment. We acknowledge the presence of the young species. We come to speak. This is Admiral Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We're prepared to listen. You have learned to see through the dark matter veil. This was not anticipated in our calculations. You have accelerated the timeline. What timeline? Chen asked. The timeline for integration. Your species and your allies were to be gradually prepared for contact over the next millennium. Your breakthrough has made this impossible. Another voice, different from the first, spoke. Not all of us agree with the gradual approach. Some of us believe you were ready for the truth. A second being emerged from the void sphere. This one was more compact, more solidly anchored in their reality. When it spoke, its voice carried undertones of urgency. I am Designation Sage. We are not your enemy, but we are not your only contact. Others are coming. Others who view your breakthrough as a threat. What others? Supreme Counselor Shothan's voice came through the communication channel. The Erasers. Sage replied. They believe that species who learn to manipulate dark matter become too dangerous to exist. They are already moving through the dimensional barriers. The space around them began to darken. Not the darkness of empty space, but something deeper. Something that seemed to absorb light itself. How do we stop them? Chen asked. You cannot stop them, Prime replied, but you can resist them. Your dark matter technology, crude as it is, can disrupt their manifestation process. But only if all species work together. All species? Zethkara's voice carried skepticism. Even the ones who haven't been told about any of this, especially those, Sage said. The Erasers will target them first. They believe ignorance is safer than knowledge. Elena's voice cut through the discussion. Admiral, I'm detecting massive spatial distortions in the Andromeda Galaxy. Something's happening there. The view screen shifted to show their neighboring galaxy. What they saw made everyone present fall silent. Andromeda was dimming. Stars were going dark in vast swaths, as if something was systematically extinguishing them. That's what the Erasers do, Sage explained. They don't just destroy species. They erase them from reality itself, as if they never existed. How long until they reach us? Chen asked. At their current rate of progression, 3 days. The combined fleet hung in space. Human ships alongside council vessels, watching the systematic destruction of an entire galaxy. In 3 days, everything they knew and loved could be wiped from existence. Then we have 3 days to unite every species in the galaxy, Chen said. 3 days to teach them what we've learned. 3 days to prepare for a war that will determine whether our reality continues to exist. Is it possible? Shothan asked. Chen looked at the dying stars of Andromeda, then at the impossible beings who had emerged from beyond the veil of dark matter. We're about to find out. # Epilogue. The new alien C 6 months later. The galaxy had changed beyond recognition. The Great Convergence, as historians would later call it, had lasted only 72 hours. But in those 3 days, every species in the galaxy had learned the truth about dark matter, about the Watchers, and about the threat that existed beyond the dimensional barriers. Admiral Chen stood in the command center of New Harmony Station, a joint facility built from the combined technologies of 17 different species. Through the massive viewport, she could see the Guardian fleet, ships from every corner of the galaxy, all equipped with dark matter manipulation technology. The Erasers haven't tried to breach our dimensional barriers in 3 weeks, Elena reported, joining her at the observation deck. The quantum resonance field is holding, for now, Chen replied, but they're still out there, and they're learning from our defenses. The battle for the galaxy had been won, but the war was far from over. The Erasers had been repelled, but not destroyed. They waited in the dark between realities, planning their next move. Sarah, Elena said, do you ever wonder if we made the right choice, revealing the truth to everyone? Chen considered the question. Below them, beings from dozens of species worked together, sharing knowledge and resources in ways that would have been impossible just months ago. The forced unity had created something unprecedented, a truly galactic civilization. Look at them, Chen said. 6 months ago, the Zephyri and the Threnody were at war. Now they're working together to develop better dark matter shields. The crystalline collective is teaching the gaseous symbiosis how to communicate through quantum entanglement. We've advanced more in these 6 months than in the previous 6 centuries. But at what cost? Elena asked. We've lost our innocence. We'll never again be able to look at the stars without knowing what lurks in the darkness between them. Maybe, Chen agreed. But we'll also never again face that darkness alone. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. The holographic display materialized, showing Watcher Designation Sage, Admiral Chen, Dr. Vasquez. I bring news from the dimensional barriers. We're listening. The Erasers have made contact with another faction, one we hoped would never become involved in this conflict. Who? The Architects, the beings who created the dimensional barriers in the first place. They're displeased with recent developments. Chen and Elena exchanged glances. Just when they thought they understood the scope of the threat, the universe revealed new layers of complexity. What do the Architects want? Chen asked. To restore the barriers, to separate the dimensions once again. They believe the convergence was a mistake that must be corrected, and if they succeed, all dark matter technology will cease to function. The alliance you've built will be severed, and the galaxy will return to its previous state of isolation and ignorance. While the Erasers wait for their next opportunity, Elena added, precisely. Chen looked out at the Guardian fleet, at the impossible collection of species working together to defend their shared reality. They had come so far, accomplished so much, but their greatest challenges still lay ahead. How long do we have? She asked. The Architects moved slowly, but deliberately. Perhaps a year before they begin the restoration process. Then we have a year to prove that the convergence was not a mistake. A year to show them that unity is stronger than isolation. And if we fail, Chen smiled grimly, then we'll face the consequences together. That's what allies do. As the transmission ended, she turned to Elena. Looks like our work is just beginning. Good thing we have the best team in the galaxy, Elena replied, outside the viewport. The Guardian fleet continued its eternal watch, defending the dimensional barriers against threats from beyond reality itself. Humanity had given the galaxy the gift of truth, and the galaxy had given humanity the gift of belonging. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The age of isolation was over. The age of convergence had begun, and in the depths of dark matter, ancient beings watched and waited, as they had for millions of years. But now, for the first time since the barriers were first erected, they were not watching alone. The universe had become a much more interesting place.